It is a perfectly ordinary Friday afternoon in the company parking lot. You stand there at 40 years old, holding a lukewarm cup of coffee. In the VIP parking space right in front of you, your coworker from the same department is backing his gleaming brand new SUV out of its spot. The massive block of metal purrs with pride. Everyone in the office watches with quiet admiration. They secretly think he is the very definition of success. He is the clear winner in this corporate game. Then you walk toward the shaded corner of the lot. You gently press the worn plastic button on your key fob. The turn signals of an 8-year-old hatchback blink in response. The paint has faded after thousands of days in the sun and rain. You open the doors, sit on the familiar fabric seat, and start the engine. Two men, the exact same age, the exact same job title, the exact same job title, the exact same income flowing into your bank accounts every single month. One looks like a king enjoying the fruits of his labor. The other looks as if he has been completely left behind. Anyone looking at this picture would draw the exact same conclusion about who has more money. But what if I told you that the man sitting in that old hatchback is the one holding the most expensive asset on the planet? His greatest wealth is not resting on the four wheels rolling down the street. That wealth is entirely invisible. Nobody sees it. Nobody talks about it. And that is exactly how he wants it to be. Because while the coworker uses his money to buy the attention of a crowd, you are using that exact same money to buy something else entirely. You are buying back your own life. To understand how this invisible gap was created, we have to rewind a clock. We have to go back to exactly 10 years ago. You had just turned 30. You still remember the weightless feeling of that afternoon when your former boss patted your shoulder and handed you the first major promotion of your life. Your salary surged by 30%. It was a number large enough to make your heart beat just a little bit faster. You felt you had officially stepped into the world of successful adults. And like an automatic reflex programmed by society, you immediately started rewarding yourself. That very weekend, you walked into a store and swiped your card for the most expensive flagship smartphone. The crisp screen and cold metal frame felt like a medal certifying your hard work. 2 months later, you moved out of your cramped apartment on the edge of the city, signing a lease for a luxury high-rise that cost twice as much, simply because it had a balcony overlooking downtown and a marble lobby. Then you started noticing the people around you. You realized your old scooter no longer matched the tailored suit you wore to the new office. So a car loan contract was signed. Every month, you would owe the bank over $600 for years to come. At the time, you thought this was just how things worked. Anyone making good money lived this way. A higher income meant you had the right to own more expensive things. But a strange feeling began to creep into your mind after the first year. Your income was undeniably higher than your early post-graduation days. Yet, as the 28th of every month approached, you found yourself anxiously opening your banking app, counting the days until payday. That extra 30% in income had completely evaporated. Instead, your living expenses had quietly swelled by 40%. You were trapped on a treadmill of endless upgrades. Every time the wheel of your income spun faster, the wheel of your spending immediately accelerated to match it. You were shopping to prove to the world that you were no longer poor. You had worked yourself to the bone to earn 30% more. But why did you feel poorer than ever at the end of every month? The answer to this cruel paradox did not come from a financial seminar. It hit you during the darkest hour, when your defenses were completely down. It was a freezing winter night at 2 a.m. You were sitting with your head in your hands on the expensive leather sofa in the living room of your gorgeous apartment. Silence wrapped around you, broken only by the heavy, labored breathing of your young child burning with a fever in the next room. The doctor had said they needed constant monitoring for the next 2 days. A father's heart tightened in your chest. Your only instinct in that moment was to stay home, to hold a warm towel and keep your child in your arms until the fever broke. You reached for your phone, intending to type out a message asking for a few days off. But right as your finger hovered over the screen, a cold bank notification popped up. This month's credit card payment was due. At the same exact moment, your digital calendar reminded you of a high-stakes project defense with a major client at 9 a.m. If you did not show up, the deal could collapse, and your year-end bonus would vanish. You froze. The blue light from the screen illuminated your exhausted face. In that solitary, helpless moment, a razor-sharp truth cut through your mind. You looked around the room. The imported leather sofa, the displayed wine cabinet, the massive flat-screen television, and the shiny car sitting in the basement waiting to drain another $600 from you tomorrow. You own so many expensive things. You looked exactly like a winner, but you had absolutely zero power to decide where you would be at 9 o'clock the next morning. You had traded every drop of your hard-earned money for flashy physical objects, chaining yourself to massive bills and accidentally stripping away the most precious asset in the world. The power of choice. The brutal truth was, your high salary was not making you free. It was simply being used to purchase your absence from your own family's life. You did not sleep that night. You did not send the text message. The next morning, you still put on a perfectly ironed suit, drove the finance car to the office, and forced a smile in the meeting while your mind frantically raced back to your sick child at home. The suppressed agony of that day turned into a spark that ignited the quietest, most relentless revolution that absolutely no one in that building could have ever seen coming. The very next month, you did something that seemed entirely backward to everyone around you. When the coworker who drove the SUV came to your desk showing off the brochure for the newest model, you smiled politely and passed on it. You did not upgrade your car. In fact, a few months later, when the lease on your luxury apartment expired, you did not renew it. Instead, you packed your things and moved into a smaller, older apartment much closer to the office. Your friends thought you were going through a secret financial crisis. Some even offered words of sympathy, but they did not know about the invisible machinery you had just set into motion. You walked into the human resources department and changed your direct deposit settings. From that day forward, 25% of your salary never even made it to your checking account. It was automatically rerouted into a broad market index fund on the exact morning you were paid. You paid yourself first, before the landlord, before the bank, before the restaurants. It was painful at first. You had to say no to the destination bachelor parties. You started packing your own lunch. But by the end of that first brutal year, you logged into your account and saw your first $10,000 sitting there untouched. It was a tiny victory, but it was yours. Yet, looking from the outside, your life seemed to be moving in reverse. And this is where the real test begins, the lonely middle. 7 long years passed. You are now 37 years old. The coworker with the SUV has now traded it in for an even more expensive brand new luxury model. His social media feed is an endless highlight reel of 5-star resorts and Michelin-starred dinners. Meanwhile, you are still driving the exact same faded hatchback. You still bring your lunch in a worn cooler bag. There were Friday nights when you sat alone in your modest living room, scrolling through your phone, feeling a heavy weight in your chest. You had sacrificed thousands of dollars of immediate pleasure. You had said no 100 times, yet nobody was clapping for you. You did not feel rich. The math of compound interest in those early years is painfully slow and deeply unglamorous. You started to question if you were making a massive mistake. Were you wasting your best years just to watch a number on the screen slowly tick up? But that number on the screen had quietly crossed $150,000. It was a completely invisible fortune. It bought you no status at the office. It bought you no admiring stares at the traffic light. The lonely middle demands that you trust a system you cannot physically touch over the shiny objects you can. Then the gravity finally shifted. It happened on a random Tuesday evening. You came home from work to find water pouring through the ceiling of your kitchen. A pipe had burst, ruining the drywall and flooding the hardwood floors. The emergency plumber arrived, inspected the damage, and handed you an estimate for $5,000. It had to be paid immediately. 10 years ago, a $5,000 surprise bill would have sent a shockwave of sheer panic through your entire body. It would have meant maxing out a high-interest credit card, losing sleep for months, and fighting with your spouse about every single grocery bill until the debt was cleared. But tonight, standing in a puddle of water in your kitchen, your heart rate did not even elevate. You pulled out your phone, opened your banking app, and smoothly transferred $5,000 from your high-yield emergency fund into your checking account. The transaction took less than 10 seconds. It was a minor inconvenience, completely handled before you even went to bed. You did not owe anyone a dime. That was the exact moment the magic of your quiet wealth revealed itself. The greatest power of money is not its ability to buy a bigger television. Its greatest power is its ability to absorb the brutal shocks of life so that your nervous system does not have to. You had built a wall between yourself and disaster, but the ultimate test of this system was still waiting for you back at the office. It is the present day. You are exactly 40 years old, sitting across the polished mahogany desk of the regional director. The same coworker who drives the brand new SUV is sitting in the waiting room outside, nervously tapping his foot. The director leans forward, a proud smile on his face, and slides a thick embossed folder across the desk toward you. It is the ultimate promotion, the position of senior vice president. The numbers printed on that offer letter are staggering. It is a salary that would immediately double your current income. It comes with an executive bonus structure, a company car allowance, and a title that commands instant respect in any room you walk into. It is the exact piece of paper you used to dream about 10 years ago when you were trapped in the treadmill of endless upgrades. But then the director explains the conditions. The new role requires you to oversee 3 different time zones. You will need to be on a plane at least 3 days a week. Your phone will never truly be turned off. You will be expected to handle client crises on Sunday mornings and manage regional emergencies during family dinners. This is not just a job offer, it is a transaction. They are offering to buy the entirety of your remaining youth, your attention, and your physical presence, and they are willing to pay top dollar for it. Your coworker outside would sign that paper in a heartbeat. He has to. His lifestyle demands it. His massive mortgage, his luxury car lease, his private club memberships, they are all hungry ghosts that need to be fed with a constantly increasing salary. He cannot afford to turn this down, but you do not reach for the pen. Instead, you look at the paper, and your mind flashes to a completely different set of numbers. You think about the quiet, automated transfers you have been making for the last 10 years. You think about the low-cost index funds that have been compounding in the dark. Your investment portfolio has now quietly crossed $450,000. Because you never upgraded to the bigger house, your mortgage is tiny. Because you never financed another car, you have zero consumer debt. Your monthly burn rate is so low that the passive dividend yield from your investments could now cover your family's basic survival needs if you ever stopped working. You have reached the tipping point. You have built a financial fortress so sturdy that you no longer need this company's money to survive. The director waits, expecting the usual reaction of overwhelming gratitude. He expects you to eagerly accept the golden handcuffs. Instead, you slide the folder gently back across the desk. You look him in the eye, smile politely, and say, "Thank you for the incredible opportunity, but I am going to pass." The director is stunned. He stammers, asking if it is a matter of compensation, offering to negotiate the base salary. He simply cannot comprehend why a man in his prime, with a seemingly average lifestyle, would walk away from a fortune. He does not understand because he cannot see your true wealth. He only sees the faded hatchback in the parking lot. He does not see the absolute, unshakable leverage that comes from a decade of silent discipline. You leave the office. Your coworker is called in next. He gets the job. He gets the massive salary. And within a month, you watch him age. You see the dark circles forming under his eyes. You see him frantically pacing the hallways, barking into his phone during lunch breaks, trapped by the very money he thought was setting him free. Meanwhile, a few weeks later, it is a completely ordinary Wednesday afternoon. The clock strikes 3:15. While the new senior vice president is boarding his 3rd delayed flight of the week, surrounded by angry passengers and stressing over a missed quarterly target, you are doing something entirely different. You calmly shut down your laptop, you pack your bag, you walk out of the glass doors of the office building and head toward the parking lot. You get into that same 8-year-old hatchback. The engine turns over with a familiar hum. You do not drive to a high-end country club,